the struggle in the African Union continue. It has been a very hard time for all of us. Things are not working our way. We can't even say that nobody is no more aware of what is practically happening now. Few days ago, I received a lot of phone calls by fellow African Union citizens. And most of these people are just calling for one reason. And they are calling to confirm exactly what I've been saying all this while. They had an interview, or they heard of an interview about Dr. Champagne, the chairman of the African Union Commission, on BBC with 24, that is Hard Talk. A man called Sebastian Sako interviewed Dr. Champagne, who in fact openly recognized and introduced himself as the chairman of the African Union Commission, equally as the president of the African Union and now African Union Authority. And it's very interesting. Most of these people were not happy at all about the interview. So they called to ask me, why this? Then I reminded them, what have you garbaged in? What you garbage in is what you are getting back. You think you can sit down for some faceless people you don't know to be voting for this man, a president? How do you call somebody a president of a union that was not voted by a union that has got citizens? Who are the citizens of the African Union? Presently, those voting alone, the 53 heads of states, are now only the citizens. So this is what is happening. And it's very interesting, you don't know. When your president goes to Addis Ababa, interestingly, my president in Ghana traveled to Addis Ababa, flamboyant, going to vote on who will become the next president of the African Union Authority. When he voted, they say Ghana has voted. What a stupid way to put it. But then, the careful study of the Ghanaian Constitution said the president can do it, or the parliament of Ghana can do it. Yes, that's part of the convention. There's no laws expressed clearly in the Constitution of Ghana that the president should go and do it, or the parliament should go and do it, or the people of Ghana should do it. So it's a clear area. We've raised this concern recently with the Constitutional Review Commission. Now, when the president votes, you see, the man that votes in the African Union election is the man that pays for the taxation of the African Union. So what happened technically is that the president of Ghana actually does not work himself alone. It's the Ghanaians that work. But when the president of Ghana is the one voting, it means because he has voted for the Champagne, for or against, participated in that election. When the time for tax comes, then he, the president of Ghana, is the one going to pay the tax. Now he paid, because he voted on behalf of the people of Ghana, he paid the tax on behalf of the people of Ghana. Champagne made it very clear. Libya have stopped paying 15%, Egypt 15%. In fact, Ghana is about 10%, because we can't even pay. Now, when the president of Ghana is paying, what exactly the president of Ghana is paying is the 10% on behalf of Ghanaians, because he voted on behalf of Ghanaians. So the money, assuming it gets to the chairman of the commission, then the chairman of the commission will use the money the way the president of Ghana wants him to use the money on behalf of the people of Ghana. Now, if the parliamentarians in Ghana are voting, it will look like the president of the African Union, when he needs tax from Ghana, he will go to the parliament. But technically what the parliamentarians will do, because they are directly in touch with their constituency, the constituency citizens have to pay. Now Ghanaians will be those to be paying for the African Union taxation. Now, the African Union technically then will be in position to conscript, to recruit, to employ Ghanaians, Nigerians, South Africans, Zimbabwe, Union army, rather than going to the president of Ghana, and then the president of Ghana will sit down and say, oh, today I have military, oh, tomorrow I don't have. That nonsense will stop. Because all those who are saying African Union, now it's clear, African Union cannot do anything. Everybody can see it. And we spoke to the people from Ivory Coast after the disgraceful life Gbagbo went through. Disgraceful life. But what we can see clearly happening here is that power is what decides who is right and who is wrong. Power. If you don't have power, even if you are right, you become wrong. Take a case. A person, look, what happened in Cote d'Ivoire and in Libya and anywhere, it's like a coup plotter. He came, a group of people decided to embark on a mutiny. Then succeeded. An armed robber coming to his house. When he succeeds, technically, he gets away with the money and enjoys his life while you are dead. Because he's stronger than you. And a coup plotter becomes the law. Everybody adore him. He's a hero. He has saved the people. Why? Because he succeeded. Because he's stronger. But when he failed, they drag him on the floor. A traitor, a criminal. They beat and destroyed him. Why? Because he lost. Now, whether the armed robber is right or wrong, is the winning or the losing that decides it, and that has to do with power. And this is bringing the whole thing to our base. Look at the way Gbagbo is treated. Yes, I may not even say, look, there are issues now. On the case of Ivory Coast, the stand of the African Union is Gbagbo must go, Alassane Ouattara must run. Some of us feel it's more or less the voice of the so-called West, American and the Europeans. I don't call that international community because we have China, we have India, we have Brazil, we have Russia. They have all dissociated from all this nonsense. Within the African Union, they were for and against, and probably those who are for Alassane Ouattara were more than those who are against Alassane Ouattara. So Gbagbo have to, and fine, let it be. In the case of Libya, those who are for Gaddafi are more than those who are against Gaddafi in the African Union. Yes. But then, what really, so we have two different scenarios, and we have to understand you cannot win every time. Sometimes you will lose, sometimes that's how the African Union is going to be for a long time, forever. But there's just one thing. African Union say all necessary means will be used. It's like me saying every necessary means will be used to discipline my son. That is not saying the criminal should come and beat my son. The foreign invasion, the foreigners coming into our land is just what everybody in the African Union disagree with. We don't want the French there. Look at the way the French went to catch this man. And look at the way we went to Libya. Trying to get the rebels. The rebels, people we call rebels. Now we are negotiating with rebels. And the government of Libya under Gaddafi to cease fire and let us have a consensus and see how we can be, because killing is not good for anybody. We are killing people. The Gaddafi faction said yes, they are willing to negotiate. The government said yes, they are willing to negotiate. The rebels said they don't want to recognize. They don't even recognize. They were calling the African Union liars. Liars. Why? Because they are armed by the Americans and the Europeans. Technically, if we can remove these Americans and the Europeans from this, I swear we will be able to talk to our brothers. What is stopping us from having a two-state solution? Recently, even Gaddafi was recommending a two-state solution to Nigeria. That if Nigeria will continue this way, then let it be divided into two. What is stopping us from doing the same thing? Benghazi government and Tripoli government. Let them run. Now, the African Union president, chairman, was telling us that they were given a condition that if they can be able to get the ceasefire, then the so-called NATO, the criminals of Europe and America, will stop the bombing. All this, who are they bombing? They are bombing the Gaddafi factions. Who are they to decide who runs Africa and who doesn't run? What this thing is this? This is rubbish. This is Is this what we want to leave for our children tomorrow? I think that is no. This is why we are saying there is nothing stopping the African Union employing her own forces directly, receiving command directly from the President of the Union, Dr. Champagne, because that is where we are now. 10 or 100 people in Ghana create a military. I mean, they will be working for the start under the Ghanaian military authority, but they will be employed by the African Union and they will be paid directly by the African Union across all the ranks. The African Union want to create more. We need soldiers, and they are Ghanaians. Have maybe 500 in Nigeria. That is for the start. Have about maybe 200 in all the countries. The African Union can call on her forces any second. That look, now in Somalia, yes, Nigeria has agreed to contribute maybe 100 soldiers. Ghana is contributing maybe 500. Uganda is even contributing a whole battalion. But then the African Union soldiers will now also be commissioned directly to go there. Then after what we do in Somalia, after getting the whole place under control, of course, the Ugandan soldiers will leave. But because the war in Somalia is taking some time, technically what we are going to do is to have military settlement there for the African Union. Then the African Union soldiers from Ghana employed directly will be based there now permanently. Technically, Somalia is no more going to have so military. No. They are not going to have military. That military will be African Union military. Ask yourself one fundamental question. Why is Ghana having military? Why is Cote d'Ivoire having military? Is the military of Cote d'Ivoire or Libya to defend herself against France soldiers or the NATO or the American soldiers? If that is their purpose, then it's failed. It's useless. Let me tell you why most of Africa, almost all the African countries have got military. Libya has military so that she can protect herself against Algeria. Algeria has military so that they can protect herself against Tunisia, Egypt. This is the reasons why we have military in Ghana, because of Cote d'Ivoire, Benin Republic, and Togo. That is why we have military. It's the reason why Somalia has got military, because we have now seen clearly that our military are not capable of handling external issues but internal issues. So if the African Union can provide this military, then Ghana government doesn't need to have one. And that exactly what is happening in Somalia. But practically how we put this thing on the ground is a concern here. That we say start with your payment directly of your tax to the African Union. Now, then the money you will be paying will not be more than the 14% or the 10% the government of Ghana is paying. It's still within. Yes. But the collection, the mechanism for collection is what is going to change. Yeah. So you are not going to be double the tax. No. And besides, it is your choice in the future to look at the Ghana military armed forces and ask yourself, is this thing really useful for us? What the Somalis and the Ghanaians will have in future, and Nigerians, is elite police trained force. They will be very, very well trained and they can be able to do a lot of things, but they will be police. Their job is to protect the government of the day of each member state. Well trained, while the African Union forces are coming in case there's a need. And the African Union forces will be strategically located. Somalia, for example, is a legitimate place for us now because it has called for it, and that will handle the whole of East Africa. The more we get, the more we employ. So the more you tax, the more we... Now the question is, in this election, what are your rules as African Union citizens? It's obvious. Your job is what? The man that is going to collect tax from you should tell you what he's going to do with your tax. How he's going to collect that tax. How much he's going to collect from you. And you should know who is going to collect that tax. And then, what he's going to do with the tax. Then you ask again, what do I, as a person who is paying this tax, what is in it for me? These are the premises and basis on which your election will be taking place. And then you look, if be honest with you, you think you are not paying. You are paying to keep the American and the European forces. Yes, we pay. Cote d'Ivoire, now they'll be paying. They have so many ways of collecting this money illegally. Why don't we find a way among ourselves to be collecting this money among ourselves? The African Command, that's what we are talking about. In Nkrumah said it, everybody says it, Gaddafi said, everybody says it. This election, if we don't do it now, I swear, all of us are going to continue to be animals. What are we? What are we? Look at all of us. Gbagbo like a rat, professor of law. What is the difference between Gbagbo and the professor of law, professor of history, and professor of law? Ghana, we have a president who is a professor. What kind of professorship is if these people cannot have common sense? Gaddafi is a lawyer. What is all this? The time for us, you and I, we, Action Group of Africa, and all of us, to up our game. Take these people on. We don't need bullets, actually, to fight most of these wars. Especially with the Europeans. They are well armed. We can fight them. But I swear we can use economic means to win this war. We will win and win against them, but under the command of the African Union presidency. And that is when you vote. Remember, they told us that defense, common trade, common defense, common foreign policy goes to the African Union. 1963 days, all Nkrumah was saying. 48 years old, what are we with? On this note, please get in touch. Get in touch. 0798444534. Action Group of Africa. Yes, this t-shirt is free. Everything we do is free. The logo is what we can give you. The t-shirt, if you like, you give us something, and we make it for you. The logo is there. Either we print and you get, or you bring your t-shirt and we print for you. Thank you very much.